And no matter what I do, I'ma always smoke with you. And no matter what I do, I'ma always hit yo boo. Yo boo, nigga. Nah, I ain't say, you know what I'm saying? You gotta peep game what I said. I ain't say I'm gonna hit my boo. I'm gonna do that. But I'm hitting yo ho too. Unless you like, subscribe, and comment right now. Bad nigga. Yeah, you know what I said. I ain't gotta do all that goddamn dripping and driving for you. Know what I said, hoe ass little boy.
One of the most controversial rappers coming out of the West Coast in recent years.
And if you see me looking down, it's because I'm rolling that yeah. And you know what that yeah is. If you don't know what that yeah is, then you ain't supposed to be on a yeah. Yeah.
Is by far none other than Swifty Blue.
Gangland, the southern side. I'm right here with the homie from White Fence. Check it out. If you ever in Los Angeles and you out here handling business, make sure you tap in with some solid homies for your own security. The streets is dangerous.
Like, hey, Swifty, I need some shooters with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Shit. Soft 25 bands.
Oh, that's
soft,
it?
Soft 20 years, soft 25
How many
bands.
days
You gonna
is
have
that?
some
How
shooters
many
with
days?
you. Man, for as long
the
as
whole
you,
weekend?
as long as
Mr. Check-In With Me himself is now more viral than ever for all the wrong reasons.
Why?
As 19
What'd he do?
members of the
What'd he
notorious
do?
Mexican Mafia have been
Dang,
charged by
shit.
the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office for their alleged involvement in a conspiracy to murder the rapper.
Yeah, they ain't playing. They getting niggas out.
What's up, everybody? Welcome
And that's
back
why
to
I ain't gonna lie, gang. That's why checking in never made sense to me, because you gonna check in, but okay, if you coming to LA and you trying to avoid getting robbed, that means you gotta avoid going to the hoods and messing with the hood in words. But if you checking in, you're literally going to the environment that you don't want to go to, and you giving them all your information. You probably gonna have one of the homies with you. These not your friends, bro. They homies. So all they gotta do, even if the big homie don't okay, and you can still get robbed. Now you gotta buy your shit back. This happens. Real things like this happen. Like, don't put it past it happening to you or a rapper.
another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're gonna be speaking on Swifty Blue and the 19 Mexican Mafia members or associates that were taken down after repeatedly trying to kill him.
19 is crazy.
Within the Mexican gang culture of Southern California lies a hierarchy that is known amongst all, but very rarely spoke on.
Right.
Those that live that life follow a strict set of rules more known as politics and are forbidden from ever publicly acknowledging La M. On the streets of Southern California,
Okay.
if you were born in a Mexican neighborhood, you were raised amongst the Southsiders.
Yeah.
Primarily known as Sureños, the Spanish term for Southerner.
Right.
Southsiders control multiple hoods known as barrios within Southern California
Barrio.
and are considered the largest population within the California prison system.
Hell yeah.
Entering the Los Angeles County jails to roll with the Southern Mexicans would be known as rolling with the Southsiders. But in prison, just because you're a Southsider, that doesn't make you a Sureño.
Right.
That title could only be earned through blood, sweat, and steel. And it wasn't optional, meaning you couldn't ask for it. You could raise your hand to put in work, or your name could be called. But either way, it wasn't until you completed the mission or multiple missions before you could even be considered. Even then, as a Sureño, this still wasn't the top of the food chain.
Hell no.
There
It's
was
entry.
another level that truly called the shots, that sent the orders to the Sureños, who then sent the orders to the Southsiders.
Right.
This elite group is known as the Mexican Mafia.
Okay.
Sureños represent the number 13, the 13th letter of the alphabet being M for Mexican Mafia.
Okay.
The connection between the two isn't a secret, and the power of both groups has been felt throughout not only the state, but the federal prison system as well.
I ain't know that.
So how did Swifty Blue become a target by one of California's deadliest gangs? Swifty Blue is a known Southsider from Eastside Para 13, a Southsider gang on the east side of Paramount, California.
Okay.
Making noise as a rapper, he'd make even more noise for the controversial things he'd do or say, like telling visitors of Los Angeles to tap in with him for protection.
To go.
Crazy. It's not lying though.
Southern side. I'm right here with the homie from White Fence. Check it out. If you ever in Los Angeles and you out here handling business, make sure you tap in with some solid homies for your own security. The streets is dangerous. If you're not tapped in, you will get stepped on. Believe that.
That nigga's pulled that bitch out, bro. Bro, where the hell did that really just come from? That's why he be wearing these baggy ass pants. He's put a fat ass 30 clip out of his pants. Like, we all gotta understand, man. These Mexicans do not be playing. Shout out to my essay, shout out to my, you know what I'm saying, my friends. But they don't be playing that bullshit. You walk up on a goddamn Mexican at the wrong place at the wrong time, they will leave your ass on the ground right there. Bleeding.
Dangerous. Tap in. Tap the fuck in.
The shooter to the right of him from White Fence 13 is none other than G-Face, another Southsider who cooperated against the Mexican Mafia.
Wow.
Back in the day. G-Face is currently incarcerated and in protective custody.
Gotta be.
He's in a made man, he's a marked man.
Gotta be.
According to transcripts, has had a green light on his head from the Mexican Mafia since 2006. As far as Swifty Blue goes, a source would tell me Swifty was dating a woman related to a member of the Mexican Mafia.
Okay.
During a fallout, this woman would allegedly threaten to tell her uncle about Swifty Blue disrespecting her, and it's alleged Swifty said fuck the both of them.
I mean,
He didn't know who or
you
how
know,
powerful that woman's relative is.
but at the same time, you gotta blame the hodo because she trying to get family involved and take it to the street shit off. Like, it don't even require all that, baby. So now you finna get your uncle, and what if I say, no, I ain't scared of your uncle. Now I gotta, you feel me? He did that, and now he almost gotta get into it. Or I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm scared, I'm sorry, and then you gonna hold me for the rest of my life. You gotta stand on your own 2 feet sometimes, ho.
Swifty Blue is alleged to have been paying a fee for the disrespect to keep himself unharmed. And keep in mind, everything I'm saying now is from a confidential source.
Paying
so
the fee
take
is crazy.
everything with a grain of salt.
Paying the fee is absolutely
Swifty's
crazy.
mouth would get the best of him, saying things on social media that was taken as disrespect to the Mafia, making his money no longer good.
Right.
It's alleged that he didn't stop paying, but that his money would no longer be accepted. Another narrative is that he was paying, but at some point refused to keep paying. And regardless of which storyline is actually true, Swifty Blue's name was placed in the hat.
I ain't gonna lie,
In
yeah.
other terms,
That's been a
he
point.
was greenlit, and any member that fell under the umbrella of the Mexican Mafia was to kill him if the opportunity presented itself.
Green
Another
light.
YouTube channel
Green
by the
light.
name of Renegade Media would thoroughly cover this story, but he did it a whole year ago, before anyone knew of the murder conspiracy, meaning he really had sources providing him with information that had yet to be revealed.
He in that shit for real. He a Latino, he in it.
The FBI would announce a conspiracy to murder the rapper began in December of 2022. Within the criminal complaint, Manuel Quintero, who goes by the name Snuffy, is alleged to be the man who ordered the hit.
Right.
This is alleged to be the uncle of the woman Swifty Blue was dating.
Dumbass
A
nigga.
man named in the complaint would tell an informant that members in Paramount, Compton, and downtown LA had instructions to attack Swifty on sight. La M would learn he was arrested, and word was passed from the streets to prison, and from prison to the county jail.
Yeah.
In November of 2023, while inside of the Los Angeles County Jail, a man who was 2 cells down from Swifty Blue would call his 66-year-old mother, asking her to ask an associate if the one who sings is still good. His mother would hang up. When he called back, she'd tell him he's no good. For this, both the man and his elderly mother have been charged with the conspiracy to murder.
No, for real
2
though.
days after the mother and son spoke, another jail inmate called a prisoner who had a contraband cell phone. After mentioning Swifty Blue, he'd ask if he remembered a Raza rapper who was in the shower. Prosecutors believe this was in reference to Money Sign Suede, the 22-year-old rapper who was killed with a box cutter in a prison shower 7 months earlier.
Damn.
The prisoner on the phone would say, the end result should be the same. The next day, Southsiders were told to handle that shit with prejudice. At 5:50 in the morning when cells popped for showers, 3 Southsiders rushed Swifty Blue's cell as a 4th man would obstruct the jail camera as they beat and sliced the rapper.
That's crazy.
5 hours later, a man would call a woman from jail, asking her to tell the member in prison that old boy got his rap session. They didn't really get a good show. Expect them to be performing in probably the 4,000th floor here soon. In other words, they failed to kill him and planned to try again as soon as Swifty landed in another part of the jail. But before this would happen, Swifty was released, essentially saving his life.
Yeah, that's this guy right there.
In March of 2024, members would communicate through TikTok stating the rapper was on live outside of his family's home. An armed Southsider would drive to the house at 1 a.m., sending a picture of a gun in a cup holder of his car.
That's crazy.
And replying on TikTok saying he ain't here. Members were later sent to vandalize Swifty's home, tagging Swifty Blue 187, a sign he's marked for death. Every step of the way, from green lighting, calling to confirm he's no good, to driving to his home, are all being considered acts within the conspiracy to murder Swifty Blue.
Yeah.
Every participant that made a call, gave a code, or sent word is being charged in the conspiracy to murder the rapper. And to be quite honest, I'm surprised that he's still alive.
Hell yeah, I'm surprised he's still alive. But I ain't gonna lie, like, LA one of those places, like, politics run deep. But he probably got some people he kick it with, like still renegade gang, still people that just going against the funk, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not surprised, you know? But the Mexicans ain't nothing to play with. Mexicans, I will get into it with anybody before I get into it with a Mexican. Like, 3 people I'm trying to stay away from, gang-wise, is Jamaicans and Haitians, goddamn Mexicans, and them Russians. I don't want to deal with no Russians. I don't even want to think about what they do to a nigga, man. The Mexicans are ruthless, so I imagine what the Russians be doing on phone now.